They start digging in there, and there's a lawyer in there, and he's died of asphyxiation. There's nothing left they can do. He's dead. And when they finally get him out, they find him. He has an oxygen mask on his face, and they get him out. They found that he actually had just enough air that if the warden hadn't slowed them down, they would have gotten to him in time, and he would have lived. At this point, we switch back over to Clyde, who's eating the food with the cellmate, and one of the other things he asked for was an iPod so he could listen to some music. And the iPod is sitting out in the hallway outside the cells. And you notice where Clyde is tearing apart. He's tearing up the steak so him and his cellmate can eat it. And we notice that he palms the T-bone section in his hand, kind of like this, kind of looking like a shiv. And he gets up and walks around and hands the remote to his cellmate. He's like, "Here, you want to give it a try?" And he's like, "Okay, well." And so he's pointing out right there. So the cellmate points the remote out like this. And at that point, Clive reaches up with the steak bone and just stabs him in the neck over and over and over and over again. It's literally a bloodbath. There's this blood splattered everywhere, on the wall behind him, on the bed, on Clyde's clothes, everywhere. It's just total bloodbath. And the guards come in, and the warden arrives as well. And Clyde is so callous. All he literally says to the warden is, "Hey warden, I need a shower." Things are just really going insane now. And at this point, they move him into solitary. And when Jamie Foxx, the lawyer character, goes down to see him, he tells him, "Okay, I got another deal. Either you drop all charges and let me go by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, or everybody dies." And they don't believe him. That by this point, they think he's got an accomplice out there. So they bring in Jamie Foxx gets all of his law office in, and bring him in, and they're doing research. They're doing research. They're trying to figure out, who does he know, who his contacts, all this stuff, trying to figure out who he knows that's been helping him carry out this kind of stuff. At that point, and they just keep studying. They keep studying. They find nothing. 6 a.m. comes, and that's it. And the Fox character says, "You know what? Everyone just go home, get some rest. We'll come back." At this point, we switch back over to Clyde Shelton, who's in his cell, and by then, the lawyer character has given him back his wristband, his bracelet that had Daddy on it. So he's sitting in his cell, and he's holding it in front of his face, looking at it like, I don't want this to happen. This is on my conscience, and I don't want. It's showing that he is going insane, but he's wanting to try and fight it. He's trying to. And everyone in his law office gets out to their cars, and they crank the engine, and boom, 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 boom. All of them die. And the last one is the lawyer character's protege, who, after seeing everyone else's car explode, she's in her car. The door's locked. She can't get out, and she puts her head up to the glass like, "Help me!" And then, boom, her car blows up. And things are just going from bad to worse to beyond messed up. Now, at this point, they end up going and talking to the judge, who wants to get him just taken out of the city altogether. She wants him out. And one of the things that the judge gave the lawyer character some grief over earlier in the movie was talking on his cell phone while in her court. And her cell phone starts ringing. And the Fox character says, "Judge, with all the grief you've given me, are you really going to get in the phone?" And the judge says, "Well, you know what? That's one of the little perks of being a judge. I can pretty much do whatever I want." She picks up the phone, puts it to her ear. Bam! There was a micro-explosive in the handset. She's dead. It's just 1 second she's standing there, the next, half her head's gone. It's pretty bad. And at that point is when the mayor finally steps in, and she's telling them, "I want this guy He's saying, no, I don't want him out. I want to lock down this city. I want it locked down so, you know, whoever's helping him cannot get in, cannot get out. I want cops in every corner, all this stuff. And next is they go over to the funeral for the judge and all the lawyers who were killed by the car bombs. And when they're at the cemetery, we see upper body from about here down, and a leather like a what would you call it, a high-priced leather kind of glove, and it's manipulating a control thing. And we see a bomb defusal robot, except it has been augmented with armor-piercing rounds from like an anti-tank gun and a mini rocket launcher. It also has an EMP generator. So when it gets up to where the cars are pulling forward, it saps the vehicles they're in and stops all of them. They can't move. The only vehicle that's still moving is the front one that has the district attorney in it. At this point, the Jamie Foxx lawyer character notices the disposal robot and notices the machine gun on it and starts firing. And it turns the district attorney's vehicle into Swiss cheese. It just rips and tears it to pieces. And then the lawyer character gets out of the vehicle, tries to go get him, and the cops are holding him back, and they keep trying to hold him back, and that's when the rocket fires, and it blows up the SUV. And things have clearly gone insane by this point. So the mayor is even more pissed off now, but instead of wanting to throw the guy out, throw him, the lawyer character, and the prisoner out of her jurisdiction, instead she promotes him to district attorney. You know, talk about AIG level of being rewarded. And at this point, they finally come. At this point, the protege, her fiance, finally comes through. There had been some legal angle where they couldn't get the stuff he'd purchased because of some treaty with Panama, where he'd actually had the bank and did the purchase and all this stuff. And the fiance gets him the purchase records. They can't tell where he bought, they can't tell what he bought, but they have all the expenditures, how much it cost. So he asked for a list of all the properties bought in the last 10 years. So he's matching the prices of properties bought versus the list he has. And one of the properties he finds turns out to be a body shop that's about 200 feet away from the prison. They go in there, they poke around, and they find out in the years between when the crime was committed and now, he dug a tunnel into the prison. And he also dug in entrances to all the solitary cells. That's how he's been getting in and out. There is no accomplice. Remember, he is crazy, crazy smart. And when they go in there, fortunately for them, he's out doing another one of his dastardly deeds. This time he's going to be targeting the mayor. And the mayor has called in a whole bunch of task force from the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, state troopers, the police chief. All these people are coming down to the city hall. And when they get there, Clyde has planted a chemical bomb on the 5th floor, right below the floor they're on. And it is a chemical substance similar to napalm. And they find it out, but here's the problem. Clyde has all of City Hall wired. So if they evacuate, he's going to know about it and he might trigger the bomb. So, and then they're like, well, what are we going to do? And they jump over to Clyde getting out from City Hall, going back to his body shop, getting out, taking off the disguise he put on, going through the tunnel, and getting back into the solitary cell. And Jamie Foxx is in there waiting for him. And he's holding a pistol.